This is Performance Anxiety on the Pantheon Podcast Network, and I'm your host, Mark. And today's guest made me float. It's an unusual episode. Today's guest is Julee Cruise, and it was recorded in April of 2019. For reasons I have forgotten, the episode was delayed and ended up slipping through the cracks in an old work-in-progress file. And unfortunately, we lost Julee in June of 2022. But in this episode, she's very candid about her work, and you'll find out why early on in the discussion. She talks about how she got into singing, acting, and playing the French horn. And although she didn't want to spend too much time discussing her work with David Lynch, she does talk about meeting him, the first thing he ever said to her, and trying to get him to sing. She did get a record deal based on her work on Blue Velvet, but that's not where the strangeness ends. At one point, she was a guest on a TV show overseas, seated next to Muammar Gaddafi. Julee also talks about the luxury of touring with the B-52s and the moments when she had some severe performance anxiety. She released 2 albums that were very heavy on the David Lynch sound. However, she had much more involvement in her final 2 albums, which deserved a lot more recognition than they seemed to get. Please check them all out. You definitely won't regret it, and you might actually be surprised. So remember to give us a follow at Performance ANX on X and Instagram. You can show us a little love with coffee money at ko-fi.com/performanceanxiety or by purchasing merch at performanceanx.threadless.com. Now get ready to float into the night with Julee Cruise on Performance Anxiety on the Pantheon Podcast Network.
This is Julee Cruise, and you're listening to Performance Anxiety.
Beautiful. We got that out of the way.
Okay.
So that's done.
Can I remember that? Oh, you'll have to remind me at the end, because Brownie will start taking off.
No problem. It might even be better.
Is it?
I can hear you a lot better, yeah.
Oh, good, because you sound weird, but it's fine.
Some people say that no matter what the connection is.
6 cups of coffee.
Oh, wow.
And just took off on a pot brownie, so watch out.
This could be the best episode ever. Well, I woke up at 7 and I told Ed to bring me some coffee, and that's the last thing I need because I never do interviews or podcasts or anything without propanolol because I get really nervous. What I want you to know about this, this is like the most casual interview you'll ever have. I just wanted to be conversational.
Sure.
So it'll be real easy. So, how you doing tonight?
Well, I'm okay. It's a beautiful night. All the evergreens are all covered in snow, and it's gorgeous.
Man, so you're up north, like you're New York, right?
I'm not in New York State, no.
Oh, okay, but you're up in the Northeast.
Yes.
Okay, I'm in Virginia. We're getting a lot of rain right now. Yeah,
well, New York is too, and we'll get rain after this, so it'll get nice and muddy.
Yeah, we're getting that now, unfortunately. So,
it's the mud season up here. I can't believe I'm still here. I've been here since June, and I won't leave. I just won't leave. I have to leave. I do. Well, sometime I have to socialize my dog. I mean, my God, she's getting feral and very lonely.
What kind of dog?
She's a golden retriever.
Oh, very nice. Her
name's Gracie. She's got her own Instagram. She brings in more than I do.
Oh, my. All right. You have to give us that.
I use her on Instagram.
Well, it's funny. I've got a dog, too, and he's got an Instagram, and I think he's got more followers than me and my show combined.
Yeah. Oh, my God. What kind of dog?
He's a mix.
So he's a male.
Yeah, he's a mix.
Males are so brooding about their maleness.
He can be. Oh, he's he's part boxer, part Australian Shepherd.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, he's really cool.
You have a lot of exercising and a lot of mind work to do with him, and vocabulary and everything. Keep his brain going.
Oh, I
think dogs are aliens. I do.
I'm not going to disagree with you, especially after this one.
It's so weird. And did you know that the reason why they go in circles around to poo, they're on the polar vortex.
Really?
Yes. She aligns her balls outside. You know, it's like dee 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 dee. I don't understand. And if you touch them, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
And the lawn guys, you know, they have to come by and put her toy. You know, they have to set them aside, and then it's ruined. It's all ruined.
I had no idea.
I didn't either. Ed just told me tonight. Did you know that Saturday Night Live used to have a bucket for people to vomit in before they went on? And now that was the most frightening experience of my life.
Oh, well,
was going on Saturday Night Live.
Tell me a little bit about that, because I was trying to find clips of that to watch, and it was Saturday Night Live patrols YouTube like nobody's business. So it's hard to find.
I have it. Yeah, I have it. It's really fun. It's great.
So this was around
it worked out fabulous. You know, my, you know, just. I was getting ready to go. I mean, it's a story. There is quite a story, you know, because it's the Andrew Dice Clay. You know, it was my idea, so I had to go through with it. I couldn't run. Recording is also frightening. And before I ever recorded with David and Angelo, which was brand new to me, I, you know, would be really afraid because it's such a tiny voice, you know. And
you're more of a belter, you said.
Yeah, but you really have to have a strong voice in order to have a soft voice like Sinead.
Really?
Okay. You do. You have to have, you know, just chords of steel to have the perfect sound being soft, because it takes so much breath, so much control that, you know, I'm a French horn player. I was a classical French horn player, and that was my major, and I went on to apprentice. And then my dad died, and my first audition was the night of his funeral.
Oh, wow.
And I got in out of 500. I went to a cattle call and decided I was going to be an actress instead.
Oh, wow.
Dad said he never wanted me to see me in the pit again. It was cabaret, I think.
Oh, wow.
And he said, you don't belong there. You belong up on the stage.
He was right.
So he finally believed in me and stopped wanting me to be a dentist like him. Although I do wish I had, you know, his vision. Boy, he wanted me to be a cosmetic dentist. And wow, that brought in a lot of money.
Yeah, no
You just
kidding.
need to know how to design. You don't have to do it yourself because the lab people do it. So
that's true.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I just said, Dad, I'm not like you. You are an artist. His brain was a different side than mine, I guess. But, you know, I mean, he was a great dancer too. No one in my family sang. And I sang, you know, I've been singing since I was 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you take lessons as a kid?
Not at all. No. I took French horn lessons right away on a university level when I was around 10, because I was a wunderkind. I used to play trumpet because we had one hanging around, you know, from the older brothers and sisters.
You know what's funny?
I was an accident.
My oldest daughter plays the trumpet, and my youngest daughter plays the French horn.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. So you're used to...
Oh, and my son plays the tuba. So...
What does he play?
The tuba.
Oh, wow. So they're all brass players.
Yes, all 3 of my kids are in brass. They're all in band. And when my youngest goes into high school next year, all 3 will be in the marching band. So it's crazy.
Oh, I hated marching band, and so will your French horn player. Really, it's beneath her, you know. It is.
It's such a beautiful... I love the French horn.
It can be with trumpets, you know.
Yeah.
But they, at that time, you know, really crackerjack female trumpet players were encouraged to play French horn because it is a woodwind instrument. And it is, it's the most difficult instrument with the oboe, but it is the solo instrument of the orchestra, you know. So that's when you're really scared. When you have to do one of those tiny, high solos, those Brahms.
Yes.
Way off, that makes people cry.
Yeah.
It's really, because I was a very high, beautiful pitch. I used to sing through my French horn.
Oh, wow.
And at that age, I had because I had such an imagination going that I really was creative and used to do my own concertos, and they weren't written out. You have to, that wasn't meant to be.
No.
They were supposed to be improvised.
We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. Before you skip over this ad, give me 1 minute. Like most podcasts, I pick sponsors carefully, and I use the products that advertise here. Pure Spectrum CBD is a product that has been really beneficial for me. They have a wide variety of great products that can be used on a daily or as-needed basis. I've been using the tincture every day, and it's been wonderful for easing anxiety. And I absolutely love the isolate. I use it instead of acetaminophen or ibuprofen, and it's worked so well for the relief of aches and pains. They also have soaks, lotions, salves, gummies, and more, plus an entire line for fitness recovery. They even have products for your pets. See everything they offer at purespectrumcbd.com. And if you have questions, they're there to help. They helped me when I had no idea where to start. After you fill your cart, use code PERFORMANCEANX for 15% off your purchase. Pure Spectrum CBD, Pure Spectrum CBD, Pure Spectrum CBD.
It's just one of those kind of things. It's really hard. I mean, you just go through one phrase at a time, real slow, and then keep going and keep going and going. I used to rehearse at 3 a.m.
Oh, my gosh. I think I'd kill my kids if they did that.
Oh, well, they just figured at least she's home and at least she's playing horn.
Well, that's true.
I mean, like at the Led Zeppelin concert or something, I'd be doing scales. Wow, I would. I'd do scales on my fingers. But, it'd be a bit altered, I would say. But not too much if I was, going to school or going to contests, something like that.
At what point did you start acting and singing, going from the French horn? I looked up
immediately.
Oh, okay.
That audition changed everything, and that has a lot to do with our conversation.
Now, was that when you took on the role of Ginger in Oz?
No, that was my third year there.
Okay.
No, this was I was Dorcas as Cinderella, and then I was in the original Bartholomew Coven's the 10,000 Hats or whatever it is,
okay.
Seuss. And I met Dr. Seuss. He came.
Oh,
we had so much money. I mean, this theater is, whoa.
Yeah.
And now it's no longer, so we won't talk about that. But there is a school. There is a school. And my director, artistic director, he surrounded himself with real true genius actors and, they dancers. Jesus. So much talent around me that it was, and a lot of drug abuse and alcoholism going on. I felt like I'm home. But boy, I was so scared. Even now acting, I'm not scared because I'm another person. Once I'm on stage, I am home. I feel really comfortable. But before I go on stage, it's a bit magical, and I don't want anyone shoving a camera in my face, which I did. I gave, when I saw David and I shot the finale for Twin Peaks, I hadn't seen David in a long time.
So this is the recent finale.
What?
This is for the recent reboot of it.
The whatever, the number 3 or something.
Yeah.
And I just gave, there were cameras shoved in my face right when I came into the studio or the sound studio, and I I really shot him a dirty look, and I guess it ruined I think it's great footage.
Yeah.
It just shows that I'm a pro. I am a pro.
Exactly.
And I better do a good job. It's, I was scared, and I was kind of shaking a bit. But once he gave me direction, and it was nice, it was fun to be given direction by a great director. And I've worked with so many great, great people. It's just, I kind of lucked out, didn't I? I really did.
Yeah, well, you've got quite a career behind you, and possibly even ahead of you after hearing the last album you did. And I want to get to that in a little bit, but I wanted to ask you a little bit more about your acting. This starting off, you played Janis Joplin.
Yes, and I'd do anything to get on Broadway. Really, I would, and I'd do anything. At that time, I didn't understand how to sing. Really, I didn't. I was a great singer, but I really had never had proper lessons. And I was used to sitting down as a French horn player,
Okay, that makes sense.
And so I had to relearn how to talk. I had to be quiet for 2 months and write notes to people. You'd be surprised what they do. They grab you and scream at you,
Oh, my God.
Like you're deaf. They actually, I mean, like the butcher or whatever, you can give them the note. And, they act like you're retarded or something, or an alien that just walked in. God. But yes, I did play Janis, and I also played Lulu. And I was better at Lulu than Janis, but damn, I gave it my best. I really did.
I would love to have seen that.
I started bleeding.
Oh, wow.
My vocal cords did, yeah.
Oh, my, really?
Yep. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but I have my magic Dr. Kessler.
So is this
he said, you want a good review in the New York Times, and you're going to listen to me.
Yeah.
And he's right. And I always got good reviews in the New York Times. I knocked on wood, but all the auditions are the most frightening thing you'll ever go through in your life.
The time of doing Lulu and Janis Joplin, is that when you met Angelo Badalamenti?
No, I met Angelo prior to that, actually.
Okay.
I did a show that was, you work on a show that at the very beginning, and this was through being General Ginger, and when HBO came in, which HBO, it was kind of like watching Mary Martin. You don't really, doing Peter Pan. Mm-hmm. You don't. And then I'm not criticizing the director, John Driver, because, he has done a lot. And I used to have a crush on him on The Guiding Light. He was a young heartthrob. Oh, my God. And he never changed. He was this handsome, beautiful guy. And here my crush walked in.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God.
He did like my work, and he knew I was moving to New York, so he introduced me to Andy Badali. Okay. Andy Badali used to write music in Nashville, because you can't have Angelo Badalamenti at that time.
Okay, that makes I can see that.
Yeah, and he was a tunesmith, and boy, he got you don't fuck Angelo over, he'll
really
nail you. Mm.
Oh man,
he taught me the business. I'm really a shark, and he's really good at it. So, people call me a bitch, and they call him wonderful. So, but that's the way it is.
Unfortunately, well,
it is.
I mean, unfortunately, it is. But at what point did you go from being in school to working? I guess what I'm trying to ask is you were in school, and then there's a gap between that and working with David Lynch. What was going on in those years?
Oh, I wasn't in school when I worked with David Lynch.
Right.
I didn't meet David until after, Blue Velvet was out.
Okay. Oh, okay.
He came in, and the first thing he pretty much said to me was, don't let people know everything about you, or they'll use it against you and they won't like you anymore. And he was so right.
Yeah.
He was so right. What a vision he had that this was going to be a hit. How would he know?
Yeah.
I thought it was really weird stuff.
I did too. And I love Blue Velvet. It's funny. It's one of the first movies I remember, and it may be a weird movie.
I love Blue Velvet too.
I watched it with my dad, and it was one of the first movies both of us actually enjoyed.
It's kind of embarrassing.
It is. It's kind of weird. But that's what this show's about. But it's one of the first movies my dad and I don't know if my dad knew what it was about when we watched it. But
well, I don't think you're supposed to really, but if you take it on a light level, like I, always laugh at David's work.
Oh, okay.
I laugh at art too. I love his art the most.
So you were working on
I really do.
You were working on that soundtrack.
I don't want to talk about David Lynch all that much.
No. And I just we're just going to touch on it a little bit. Obviously, we have to talk a little bit about it. So you actually did the song Mysteries of Love for Blue Velvet, but you didn't work.
I didn't meet David then. It was Angelo and I. It was written on a napkin.
Really?
Just the lyrics. And it was given to Angelo. And I honestly thought that I was doing Isabella. I thought that, Angelo talks very fast and kind of, he's a wheeler and dealer. And, I didn't get paid for it, but for Blue Velvet.
Oh,
and I wanted to get into the unions, It was important to me to get my Screen Actors Guild card. And that's all I needed was that and $1,000 from my mother. And thanks, Mom. And she she used to run my dad's clinic, which was huge. And she was really a tiger when it came to money.
Oh, good.
And she didn't like the fact that, I had done something for free like that. And I was sort of, it doesn't really matter what Mom thinks. I knew I was on the right track. It's just, in a way, I turn so many things down, and people say don't do that. But I think that when it's right.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But I was just offered $15,000 to sing at a wedding for industry people.
Oh,
and
wow.
Because they're industry people, I'd never call them back.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, just recently. And, they knew they knew, David's current wife who I met and stuff. And she was, I don't know. I just didn't like the whole thing. I don't do anything to get something, I want to do something of substance. Like a double concert with King Dude would be interesting.
Oh, there you go.
And they came up with it, but it wasn't a big enough house. And I figured, I don't know. It just didn't feel right.
Well, if it doesn't feel right,
I didn't go out this year at all. I'm not going to use David and his work. So, my dog's mad at me. Smoking in her room.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Okay.
So after the Blue Velvet soundtrack came out and you had Mysteries of Love was on that, you actually recorded your first album.
Well, yeah, they asked me to. I answered the phone, and it was Warner Brothers Records, and they said, "Do you want a deal?" And I said, "Can I think about it?" Because I never wanted that. Okay. I never wanted a recording deal.
Oh,
I thought that was for Madonna and stuff like that. And I knew that it'd be really difficult to get that music, but once it hits TV, then it went global, and it was like a whirlwind. I was on the road just talking and talking and talking and talking for 3 years.
Oh, gosh.
I never saw Twin Peaks. I saw...
Oh, wow.
The only episodes I saw were the ones he directed, which are the best.
Yeah.
They're the only ones that really do it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And the rest are just, the second season, unfortunately, the network got involved and decided that they would tell, David and Kyle what to do. And they were just outraged. And that's why, David can do what he does and walk out until he gets the money he wants. And the leeway, he doesn't want anyone telling him what to do.
Yeah, well, I can imagine. I mean,
he's had to all his life, except for this current, it's Cinemax. Was it Showtime? I'm sorry. Yeah.
Did you have any input in the writing of the music or the lyrics for that first solo album?
Not the first one at all.
Inside my heart, I want you. Rocking back inside my heart. Rocking back inside my
heart. And the second one, I just did some demos with a friend of mine. That's all I did. And Kevin called me up, my A&R guy, Kevin Laffey, called me up. I was in Japan at the time, and he said, they are fantastic. They are so great. And they wanted to put them on the demo album because only one song got on the second one. It all had to do with publishing, and that's when, I don't know, Lenny Waronker wanted it bad, and I never published those songs. Only one, and that was on the second album. And then Depeche Mode did a cover of that, which is great, and I became a writer, and I wanted to do something difficult, and that is work with German bands. Well, they are experimental.
That's true.
And the syntax is off, right?
Yes.
And I would, rewrite the whole song, and we'd start on something else, and then start on something else, and I become the front person for the band and tour with them and everything. Eventually, I got them to laugh, They don't laugh.
No, they're very serious.
Oh, man, boy, when Marcus Schmeckler is funny, though, from Plurman, he is funny, viciously funny. And we had a great time one night at a film festival.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, it was awarding David. I had to get up and you know, I wasn't prepared or anything. I think it turned out great, but usually improvs do when you're at the last minute.
Oh,
and you're sitting at a table and everyone's talking and having fun, and you know there's tons of people and you're laughing at the cheap dresses and stuff like that, and just the whole bizarreness of it. And then I learned I had to go. I was the third choice.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Jeez.
That was actually there to accept the award, but it turned out fine.
We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. Before we move on, there was one question I forgot to ask about the Blue Velvet soundtrack. How did you end up singing on that? Because I believe I had read.
Well, Angelo called me up and after about 3 years, and I had done some things for him. And he heard that I had different voices and that I was really good and adept at being, really I am a mimic. But for this, there was no mimic. I didn't know no one brought up Liz Fraser, but there were like, those kind of things. Mm-hmm. Angelo just had written it. You know, how David wanted it, because he liked the song, and I'd never heard Song with the Siren. I don't know, I guess you're working so much in the theater that you miss music sometimes, and I guess maybe I was listening to Prince instead of Miss Number One Ethereal, according to one of the newspapers in London, which I tend to differ. I am the godmother of chill.
Yeah. Yes. I have to agree with you on that.
Yep. That voice is a weak, high voice that I bring down, and I'm not used to that. And, the songs are not, the voice sounds very high, and it's not that high. I'm not singing that high, and my speaking voice is low. A lot of singers' speaking voices are low or raspy, but all of a sudden this high voice pops out. Sounds very high, like I don't know why, but then Angelo came up with stacking the sound, and that means just putting not like Sinead, where she has chorusing and two voices that are right there. It's the graduation, of voice. And I wrote it all out, with kind of a continental type accent, intercontinental, I don't know. I wrote it out and spoke it. And then I went in and told Angelo after the fifth girl that didn't work out, because I sent him all kinds of singers I knew. Okay. And it didn't work. And I said, let me try. And I got up to the microphone right in front of his piano, just a real cruddy mic, Mm-hmm. And he said it was love at first sound. So I guess, and you hear that demo, and I have it. It's just a tape, and I use a lot more vibrato because I think that's what it needs, right? But my final one was a lot more relaxed, and it was a lot of fun to be in the Brill building. Oh, and Angelo and I went in one night, and I read off the music. He always had music, so he always wrote out all of the music, which really helps a singer when they're recording.
Oh, yeah.
I hate it now because most engineers, they don't write anything out, and they don't, they're not composers. They're just engineers.
Yeah, yeah.
So I tend not to want to work with them. And there's a few people I love very much, to work with and record with, and others I have no idea. Yeah. What they're, how it turned out. They just were kind of snotty, but maybe it was the price I sent them. I don't know.
So were you nervous going in after you sent five or so singers out, and then they didn't like them, and then you threw out, I'll do it? Were you nervous going in and doing it on your own?
Yes, I thought, why did I why did I freaking say that? And I want to say, but
Say whatever you want here.
Why did I do that? And I kept, trying to change the time and change the day and all that. No, Angelo had said, no, you got to come in. You got to come in. This is our date, and I'll take you out to dinner. Okay.
Well, that was very nice of him.
Oh no, he is the sweetest man. Just that that night that we had finally, recorded and gotten the entire album done and gone into Sound Factory, which is a big. It was a huge, beautiful studio, and we stayed all night. And for some reason, he got angry about the bill. Whoa! I heard him yell. Oh boy!
Oh my God!
And he just said, you gotta. He had just always taught me, you have to get a good lawyer. You get a good lawyer. Get a good lawyer.
Yeah.
I mean, again, that's the name of the game, isn't it? In the music business.
Yeah, you got to protect yourself.
It is. It's not fun. I'll tell you, it's not. You have to tell them what to do and push them and be a real bitch, and they're working at an enormous amount of money, and there's only a handful in the world of lawyers that aren't dirty, where they want to win because they like the game of law.
Exactly, and it's a game to them.
And the rest of them, it's a game, a golf game. Who went to Berkeley, all of that, and it all happens in L.A.
So you did Blue Velvet, and then a couple of years later, do your solo album, and then around that time, a little after that first solo album, work starts on Twin Peaks. Are you brought in because to do the music for that?
No, God, I walked out after the premiere and the next day, and everyone on the street said, "Hey, Julie! Hey, Julee Cruise!" It was spooky and weird, and I didn't like it, and you wouldn't like it, and nobody would like it. Fame is not fun, and it's fleeting, and it is also addictive, but it is fleeting, and it is painful. It's people say really awful things about you. You start reading about the comments and things, and I called David up and I went, I think I'm ugly. That was my big point of how am I going to do this? Oh my God, I'm not beautiful. How am I going to do this? With interviews and stuff. And my husband's a journalist and a serious one. And, he really helped me in a way, not by telling me what to say or what to do, but maybe loosening me up a bit, and I learned how to take over an interview that the interview guy wasn't very good.
Right.
They send some associate editor out, and he sucks at interviewing.
Yeah.
And he's not used to being on air or anything like that. So it's you have to kind of change it around. Now, in England, they have great journalists, and they're very funny. Very funny. Now,
is this around the same time where you were telling me that you did an interview and they had you seated next to Muammar Gaddafi?
It was in Sweden. outrageous. It was a talk show, and I barely remember it. I mean, I do, but Muammar Gaddafi was, and it was right after they showed him in drag, because they said that he used to hang out in drag in his palace. And no, that's a rumor, and I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that it's true. And they had Muammar Gaddafi, drag in the post. And then I couldn't believe it. Ed said, Muammar Gaddafi is right next to you. I died.
Oh my!
But it was an interesting lineup. Like I said to you before, it's just outrageous.
That's insane.
And I'd have to go on and sing, and also sing to track. I never, could have my band with me. It was way too expensive. If I put a band together today, it would be friends that are really dig and really used to play with Bowie and used to play with the B-52s. And
nice.
Oh boy, when we get to that. But it was, just amazing. It is amazing that the musicians that you can ask favors for, and they won't charge you $1,000.
Oh wow!
To play. They won't, and that's really great. And they're all out in L.A. Or they live. I can see Kate's place across.
Oh, really?
I think from the Poconos.
Oh, wow!
She's in Woodstock, which is Poconos.
After Twin Peaks came out, you came out with your second album, The Voice of Love.
That was while I was on the road with the B-52s, and we just so happened to be in L.A.
Oh, okay.
And we were playing at the Universal Theater, and everyone was real nervous that night because you play L.A., Berlin, New York. Those are real big cities.
Yeah.
And forgot what I was going to say. I dropped my tooth, I think. I think the pot brownie is kicking in. Oh, my God.
Well, tell me how you got hooked up with the B-52s.
They asked me.
Oh, that's pretty
Another
simple.
thing, I pick up the phone and I get asked. Yep.
Jeez.
One of Fred Schneider and actually Pat Irwin, the keyboardist and the saxophone player and the guitar player, he did a lot with the Bees and for years and years and years. And he's not with them now, of course. But it's Kate, and it was just amazing. I had to go up to. There's another audition. I had to get in a limo with Fred and drive up to Woodstock and meet Kate, who never smiled at all.
Really?
No,
She always
and
looks
I
so
wanted her
happy.
to like me so much.
She always looks so happy in all the videos and all the clips you see. She always looks so happy.
Oh, when she sings, she's pretty serious. I don't think you ever see her smile.
Man.
They're all real serious about their work. They are. That's why they're good.
Yeah. They seem like so much fun.
They are.
Were they a lot of fun
the
to
way
tour
we
with?
traveled was unbelievably luxurious. I mean, ridiculously luxurious.
Oh, wow.
Where there were only three of. There was Kate, and oh God, another my brain. Why did I wake up from a nap?
Oh, sorry.
I know. God, and I love him so much. The guitar player, the main guy, he used to be the drummer. Oh, what's his name? Keith Strickland.
Oh, okay.
He's so brilliant. I mean, he wrote most of the music for the B-52s and owns a lot more publishing, I believe, than the others. As well, he should. But they're all pretty much a group, and they put in a lot. And Kate is like steel. She's really, serious. And it was like walking into a dysfunctional family.
Really?
It was.
Oh.
I had to kind of split off and take sides, and I took Kate's side. She had a hard time on the road. It was difficult. It is difficult for a woman, and Kate is a lot older than me.
Yeah.
And it is really difficult to travel and to, have her, look perfect all the time.
Yeah, and that's a big thing with the band, the appearance.
Yeah, well, we're in the South, and we walk into one of the diners, and of course they all drop their fork. They do, and stare at us. And Alabama, no, it was Mississippi. We're in Mississippi, and I couldn't wait to fucking get out of Mississippi. God.
I said the same thing last time I went to Mississippi.
Absolutely. Get the hell out. I just hated it. And because we had Planned Parenthood and all these stands, because we played gigantic arenas and outdoor things. And, there were so many people. It did scare me when my little solo was coming up. Hamburger, and it would frighten me. I'd be scared to death, but I'd still have to belt it out while I was dancing. They wanted me to dance, so I had to fly dance, which I'm not a very good dancer. I felt like I was in a cartoon. I did.
Oh,
it was like being in musical theater, which is the cartoon. And I hate watching musical theater, but I think I'd love to see the Bees in action. I would. I have seen them before, but you see them on the side, where they put you, the friends and everything.
Oh, yeah.
You really don't get to see them in front, and hear the sound like it really is and everything. Because you're a guest, and you sit in a separate section.
And everything's facing the audience, so you're not getting the actual mix, the house sound.
Right, you're not. And, I knew they had a good show, and they always had a good show, and we always had great sound. And that's another thing is, my sound guy, he better be good. And, you hear all these shit sound guys on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. It was taken from like a little camcorder and they put it up on fucking YouTube.
Yeah.
It makes me so angry. I'll find a way to take it down. Put in some others, some things from New York, but I just haven't done it because I don't care anymore.
You mentioned
Did
something.
I just say that?
Yes, you did.
I can't believe I just said that.
No,
I don't care anymore.
You mentioned early on that when you were on stage, when you were acting, you didn't really get performance anxiety or stage fright. Was it different going on stage to sing for you? Was it
It's much different to go on stage and sing. It's terrifying.
Really?
God
Okay.
damn, Sky Ferreira just hates it. She hates it.
Oh,
And
gosh.
she's just a darling girl. I love her so much.
Oh, awesome.
And I don't know any of the other singers, but I do know her, and I don't know her work at all. But she is she is really, opposite of what you think.
Okay,
She's so soft
Really?
and sweet. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Oh, man.
And we've had many discussions, from when I'm angry or when I'm bitchy or, something. And boy, she is really, the concerned kind of cool friend. She is.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I like her a lot. But yes, singing is, everyone hates singing. I don't know anyone that has the guts. I mean, there are people that can just get up at a piano bar and sing. And believe me, I worked at, as a waitress and at a high-end place. But I also worked at like a piano bar, like a cabaret place.
Yeah, okay.
And I'd see what people were doing. And I'd say, that is such shit. It's such shit material. Why can't we take rock music, and change it? But I was with the first girl group that kind of started, that all these reviews, like Jersey Boys, which I worked with the writer on the last play I did with George C. Wolfe. And that was at the Public, and I always have wanted to work at the Public Theater. Oh, this was a David Geffen production, and it was headed to Broadway, and it got a bad review, but I didn't.
Oh, man.
It sucked. Yeah. Yeah, there were too many. It was the Keith Haring story.
Okay.
And I played about 7 roles, but with Andy Warhol I played. And they immediately knew I was going to be Andy Warhol when they looked at me. I guess I was really thin. I mean, I was 82 pounds.
Oh,
and,
my God.
Well, I had just finished my own album that was meant to really catapult me into this play.
Was that The Art of Being a Girl?
Although it didn't, I'm still really proud of the album. And what they did, unfortunately, on iTunes and stuff, they left out, it's a piece, and they left out all the improv monologues in between.
Oh, so this is your album, The Art of Being a Girl.
They're very fucking funny. I'm sorry. They're very funny. And I'm really sorry that they're not there. It loses why, loses the whole story.
I was listening to it, The Art of Being a Girl, just the other day, and it's on YouTube, and it still has the little segues in between the songs.
On YouTube, someone must have put it on. How sweet.
Yeah,
I'm really bad at any kind of self-promotion or, doing that kind of stuff, but I'll hire someone who will.
Well, that's one of the things that I loved about that album is the little pieces in between the songs.
Thank you.
And they're brilliant. I mean, it cracked me up.
Well, it's all improv at the mic.
Really?
Oh yeah. And a lot of the songs were written right before I sang.
The one I particularly like is the one where you make the phone call. And you're talking to the guys. Oh, your wife's there? Oh, you're putting your daughter to sleep? Oh, okay.
Hi. I'm not am I bothering you? Oh, your wife's there. Oh, I'm so stupid. And, you're putting your little girl to bed? Oh, that's so nice. I'm sorry. Listen, I'll talk to you later, okay? Okay, I'm sorry. Bye.
And that's a great song that follows it, and everybody likes Nobody Knows. Everybody knows.
Yes.
Everyone knows I don't want to. 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 And said the door.
And they want to do remixes of it and things like that. And they were going to charge me, one guy from Israel, $46,000. I said, yeah, you might have been head of Sony in Israel, but, man, I've never, this other production that you did, and this one girl, she did it all. I found out she did it all.
Oh, my gosh.
So I know, huh?
Well, I'll tell you, I love the song You're Staring At Me. It sets a fantastic tone for the album.
Thank you, and thanks to Henry Mancini. God, I had to write to the Mancini Foundation. Mark Mancini is just the best and gave me the sample for a very nominal low fee.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I thought it was pretty great, yeah.
I was just minding my own business, walking across the floor, looking at everyone in their phony clothes. The girl with the fake tits and the tight jeans with the gut hanging out. The guy who was putting the hustle on the Mexican kid, and that DJ who really thought he was the shit. And then I noticed he was staring at me.
That's so classic, and that's his father's, and not just anybody can sample it. And I lucked out by knowing David and Angelo, I'm sure.
Well, what I like about it is what you were telling me earlier is that you're more of a belter, and the first two albums you didn't really get a chance to do that, and in this album, I definitely hear how strong your voice is.
Oh, no, you don't. I mean, in the
Really?
B-52s, if you ever hear recordings, and I'm singing Cindy, Cindy is the highest.
Okay.
And it's really high belt. And that's why she always loses her voice on the road. I studied with a really great teacher. I got a chance to get in, and Katie Agresta, and you have to stick your tongue out with a paper towel and put your chin down. And there's a whole... before sound check,
Oh, wow.
And you have to wait. You have to wait in between. I have lots of paraphernalia with me on stage, like, things to go in my mouth. It's not to be Frank Booth, but yeah, I do have one of those things that gets my voice, because if it's dry in the room, I have to keep it going.
Ah, okay. Wow.
So it's wet. Yeah, the Mariah Carey bought one, so I had to buy one too. And anyway, stage fright. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Horn contests. It never goes away.
So
it never goes away, I don't think.
So you haven't
I'm not
overcome
afraid
it.
now to take a job. I'll say, oh, okay, well, maybe I'll do that.
Yeah.
But it has to be feasible, and it can't be just one-off.
Okay.
If I hit London, I have to hit Paris. I have to hit Berlin.
You got to make it worth your while.
Well, it's not. I did in a week. I got it. And I would have come home with a very large sum of money. And they said yes, and that was all around the world, and I would have had to rehearse bands of friends that I know from different territories, like if I go to Japan, or if I go to Australia, and then Japan, Hong Kong would be groovy, Israel would be very lucrative and very cool.
Yeah,
and,
oh my gosh.
That's where it's happening now, is Israel. Well, they're blending African, and we liked, it was so popular. We like that kind of beat, that drum and bass, and we like the more African sound because it's more laid back and it's more cool.
Well, speaking of that brings me to your latest album that came out a few years ago, My Secret Life. I love that album. That is my favorite of all four.
Why?
Because there's such
got enormously great reviews, I have to say. It really did.
Gosh, I guess it's hard for me to put into words, really. Your voice does so many different things on the album. Yes,
it got a little scattered at the end because of the Pro Tools was going to change and all that shit.
Yeah.
And I didn't like to be rushed because it was going at such a nice clip. It had to be thought out, and I had to bring in a couple of other artists and make it cohesive, because J.J. McKeon is really an amazing musician. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
And he co-produced the album with me, of course, and was great. I mean, he's a great guitarist, really great guitarist.
And you got, unlike the other two albums, the first two albums, you had a huge hand in writing the music and the lyrics for My Secret Life and The Art of Being a Girl.
Oh, yes.
I think that's another reason I like it, is that it sounds more personal, I guess. The other two sound like David Lynch had a really big hand in it.
Oh, of
Obviously.
course. Well, he wrote the lyrics and the melody. No, he wrote the lyrics. And lyrics are, 50%. Now, I write lyrics and melody, and I only charge 50%. And Warner Chappell always gets mad at me, but I think it's only fair. I mean, there's 5 guys that need to make the track. I don't know how fair that is.
Yeah.
But, it's like, how many of you does it take to screw in a light bulb? But then again, I was afraid to sing in front of them. I found a studio with a Neve board and had such a groovy sound. It was so beautiful, and we used that. And I don't have a very good relationship with Hybrid, but in My Secret Life, I've known Dimitri forever, and I think he overly produced it, unfortunately, and made all kinds of harmonies that weren't supposed to be there, without my permission. So I just let him put it out.
well, if it helps,
some of those were my first songs.
Well, I love the songs mine.
Like I'm Your Girl.
Oh, beside me, 'cause I'm your girl. 'Cause when I wish for you. When I pray for you. When I die, I'll die for you.
That is a stalker song, and it's everything I write is true.
Well, I love mine. I love Orbiting Planet Fear. That's just,
thank you.
They're fantastic, and
that is so nice of you to say.
Oh,
really?
I seriously went and I've been listening to them for the past couple of days, and I've just been repeating specifically mine and Orbiting Planet Fear over and over again, because they're just, I don't know, they connect with me for some reason. And I'm not a big electronica person. I don't listen to a whole lot of electronica music and all, but they're just the beat and your voice, and just something just resonates with me.
Orbiting the planet fear. It's been a year, I think. Sitting in my cage, crying on my rage that no one wants to hear.
Put those on repeat and listen to them on a loop forever.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Oh,
that's so nice.
Well, it's completely
really
true.
nice. And we did that over the computer. He was in Berlin.
Wow.
He'd moved to Berlin. I was, all my friends moved to Berlin. And because I used to go down to his loft, and there was Dimitri from Delight, which when I first heard Delight, I pulled over because the song was so good. I couldn't believe Grooves in the Heart, and her.
I remember that.
No one can imitate Keir.
No,
that song. There's a lot of imitators and better than me, but they baby scoop, and they're not as straight tone as I am, and I do tend to be, and I hate to say this, but an actress when I'm doing any of those songs, and I am. And my performance style is quite different than, a lot of others.
But
whether it's electronica or not, I take it over. There's no one else doing anything on the stage, so I have to work it. I'm not a rock singer. I don't know. I mean, I'm not cool. I'm not. I'm not.
I think you're pretty cool.
I want to be cool, and I guess by now I'm cool, but I'm not cool. I'm really a geek, and I stay in bed a lot, and I'm a real recluse. I've been up in the mountains by myself with no TV. My husband, I don't listen to the TV. I don't watch TV. I just have music on and have my dog. I just can't believe watching nature and her interact.
Well, nature up in the Northeast is absolutely beautiful.
It is. It's not Lake Tahoe, but it is where I'm at, like a 250 to 300-year-old resort with mansions like you wouldn't believe from the Industrial Revolution. They came up here during the summers. And now, of course, they're skiing. So we have skiers, and they're starting to leave, and because it's the mud season.
Yeah.
But I don't mind. I like the townies a lot. We've been up here for 20 years.
Oh, gosh. Well, one of the things that you did a few years ago was one of my favorite TV shows of all time is Psych. And they did a Twin Peaks-inspired episode called Dual Spires. And
those guys are both, they had a band.
Oh.
Yes, and he directed me in the booth. I've never had anyone, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. He directed me he was in the booth with me. I thought that was weird and that was scary.
Oh my God.
Really scary. And the music supervisor, my friend, and all these people were, in there. And around me, it was really awful. I have to say. The guys were nice, I guess, but that's too much control. Give me some dignity, please.
Yeah, exactly. You know how it's supposed to sound. If they wanted something that sounds like Twin Peaks, you know how to do it.
I think I know how to do it. Yeah.
Do you get asked to do that kind of stuff very often? Motifs?
No, because I've been told, which is odd because I work a lot, but I've been told before that it's too David Lynch.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. It's Julee Cruise. I'm sorry. It's my voice, okay? He taught me how to sing, all right? Listen, I've tried to get him to sing one note. Just one note, David. Yeah. What is it? What is it? You used to play trumpet, and it's just you and me. You can do it. Come on, you can do it. Nope, he can't do it. Nope.
Wow.
No. Yeah, I know.
But he'll write some beautiful lyrics.
My Katie Agresta and everything, because I thought that he was singing on an album, but it was another album. I guess I didn't know anything about Blue Bob, but that tour didn't come off so well as far as he's concerned.
Oh, gosh.
He didn't like it.
Oh, that's a shame. Julee, I've kept you for quite a while, and I really do appreciate you coming on with me and spending so much time telling me so many wonderful stories. And
I hope I told them some cohesively. I don't even know.
They entertain me, and right now that's all I'm concerned about.
Okay, good.
Is there?
Thanks for asking me, Mark.
Oh,
really,
it is totally my pleasure.